Welcome, everyone, to a competitor update here at the Rebelle Rally Live, brought to you by Toyota. I'm Emmy Hall, and I'm here with Chrissy Beavis. And Chrissy, I literally just skidded in here at the last minute because I was out with your husband and one of our camera guys and a special guest of the show. We were out there getting some footage for tonight's show, and man, is it soft out there. It is hot and it is soft.
Yeah, and you can definitely see that in the tracking as well. People are having a rough day.
Yeah, we saw some self-recoveries. We saw some helped recoveries. We saw some people kind of come up to a ridge and then say, I'm not sure I really want to do that, and then try to turn around. Yeah, there was a lot of people working together out there. A lot of people trying to just stick on the outside of the dunes, go in when they can, and then get back out.
Yeah, I think that's one of the tricky things, right, is that when Emily's plotting the course out, that if you go from point to point to point, that is a route that she knows that you can do.
You can.
Even when it's hot and soft.
Right.
But, like, right now, people are trying to be smart, and they like skirt the edge of the dunes and only try to go in these short directions to things.
Right.
And that's not a route that we've ever plotted. Like, that's not a course we plotted for them to go. And so, and can it be done? Probably. But it's definitely not the easiest way to go.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I would think using your transit stages, like getting north or south or east or west, using the sand highway would actually be easier. But going in and getting that, it's just harder to go in and come back out, go in and come back out.
Yeah, you know that most of the time the dunes only want you to go one direction.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I mean, they definitely favor one direction over the other because that's the wind comes over the dunes.
Right.
And you can drive one way, but you can't get back up that slip face, right?
Yes,
then you
exactly.
have to drive around looking for a place to get back up. And so if you try to go in and back out, that just doesn't happen, and you end up getting lost because you end up having to zigzag back and forth so much, or just go way far
Right.
off of your heading.
Right, and then when you get back to the sand highway, or you get back to your comfort zone, you don't know exactly where you are on that sand highway. So if you don't know where you are, you can't get to where you're going.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we do have something that's more interesting today, and if we can look at some of the tracking, I'd love to show you guys how over on the west side, we have some checkpoints that are way, you can see them down there, a blue and two black diamonds,
Way
and then
down
the
at the
green
south?
on the
out on the very, very
kind
west.
of that west
Yeah.
side. And it's a little bit south, but those are not in the dunes.
Yeah.
No, but what is over there is a lot of sand and a lot of vegetation, and so it is still dunes, and it is still soft sand that
Right.
they're having to drive in, but they're also having to find little trails. And so as the competitors have kind of come around there throughout the day, you'll see a lot of confusion at that blue checkpoint there, where a lot of people didn't want to cross a canal.
Right.
Right? And so there's a canal there. It's not really on the map. It's on part of the map, but then the lower part of the map, they didn't actually have that on there.
Okay.
And so when they got there, there's these no trespassing signs on the fence for the canal, which means, like, don't
go into the
swimming.
canal. Right.
But a lot of competitors didn't want to cross the road, cross the bridge.
Right.
But none of them called us.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
Until they'd been driving around for several hours.
Several hours?
Yes, and there were plenty of competitors that were like, oh, yeah, I can see that those signs are on the fence, and they mean
Right.
don't pass the fence.
Right.
But they just didn't want to. They just didn't want to cross, and they didn't call. I don't know why they didn't call.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So once they get over to that west side, they do have a Jimmy Lewis Enduro that gets them down to the southern part of the dunes near Buttercup, which we have never been to before. So, a lot of the dunes up here, it's very familiar to a lot of people. A lot of people train up here. So getting down into those southern dunes, I mean, what are those dunes like down there?
Yeah, so actually the area that she has them in is an area that I do a lot of training in for, like, the dunes trainings.
Oh, okay, great.
It's beautiful down there. And that's kind of not all the way to Buttercup, but, like, it's in Dune Buggy Flats. So there's, like, the flat area, and just up above that. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
And the dunes right above there are super drivable. They're even drivable for Xcross. And the navigation will be just a little bit easier there because you can take a heading and a distance and just kind of drive over stuff. There's only small areas of the larger things that you can't drive
All right.
over.
That's cool.
So I'm really curious to see how Xcross is doing down there and how they got down there first because they didn't have as many checkpoints this morning up north. And so they are the ones who kind of filtered down there first. So you can already see them down there.
All right. Well, I have not had, gosh, I am so dirty. Look at that. I've just been like crawling under the truck. I have not had a chance to look at the results where we are right now on our live standing. So let's take a look and see what we've got going on. Now, again, you guys, this is not, like, the day is not done, but we currently have Nina Barlow and Terralyn. I always say her name wrong. Pederit. I'm sorry, Terralyn. I know that's wrong. Leading with 1,304 points, 82%. But Lily and Alex are hot on their tails at 81.
Wow. Yeah, and only less than 10 points.
Less than 10 points. And as you said earlier today, like, that's a blue. Yep. And some of those blues, you guys, are not marked with flags. They're marked with a pole, and it's very, very easy to miss a pole.
Yes, it is, especially out there. And, in fact, today we do have one blue that is marked with an American flag. It's a memorial that's out there, and we didn't go in and set something, but they have on their competitor guide, they know that it's marked with another structure that isn't one of their blues.
Oh, so they don't know what kind of structure it is. Right. And we had done that once before where it was, there's like a burned out car down here on like Wash 4 or Wash 11 or something.
And we've done it.
It was like, it's another structure. Yeah. So, yeah, so they'll have to think about that going in. As we go down, you know, we do have a lot of people that are out here, and it's amazing how we seem to have scores all over the board. I mean, we've got the top leaders, which are at the 84%, and then of course we've got some people that are into the 30s, even to 25%. That's Emily Benzie. She's doing the media drives, you know. But even just getting 37% of the points out here is really something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Because it is not easy. It really is not easy. I challenge anybody to come out here in a stock vehicle and try to do what these ladies are doing when it's 105 million degrees out there and the sand is soft and they're in a big old heavy vehicle.
It's so hot out there right now, and most of these women have never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
And so if, as you guys are watching the tracking at home, like when you see what they're doing, it is not easy.
Yeah, they're not just driving in a straight line. They're driving up and over, and they're concentrating, and their navigator is telling them where to go, and the driver's saying, I can't stop here. Like, there's a lot of teamwork happening, and hopefully the navigator knows what the driver needs, and the driver knows what the navigator needs. But today is a completely different day. So as we continue going, it's a 10-hour day today, so we should see the top teams coming in right around 5 o'clock. So we've got a couple more hours. Let's take a look at where we are over the day. So right now, it looks like Laura Wanless and Maria Guitar are in first place for the day with 47% of the points. But again, you guys, as the rest of the teams catch up, that is definitely going to change.
Yeah, you can see that Laura and Maria have an additional blue and a green checkpoint there that the top two teams don't have yet. So even though Laura and Maria are in first right now, they're not going to be for long, because once those other two checkpoints come in, they're going to catch right up.
Yeah, so this is rolling checkpoints that happen. Now, did they have any out of order checkpoints today?
They did. They had some out-of-order checkpoints in the area of Oldsmobile Hill.
Okay, so they've already been through that. So as we go through the rest of the day, these should be updating, and it won't be any of that like weird wonkiness where you're not sure where people are like we had over the marathon day 5 and 6.
Now, but what you can see here is between 14 and 18, that is a Precision Enduro road book. And so 15, 16, and 17 here for the 4x4 class, they're on a road book. And it's interesting because we see that Laura and Maria missed the first checkpoint on their road book.
Yeah. On the road book, and that was a blue.
Rough.
It was probably a pole, let's be honest. But that is a Jimmy Lewis Enduro.
I think it was one of those click at the right flag.
Oh, was it one of the click at the right, like
yes,
click at the
and
opposite structure?
And they're very close.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe we had a fake blue flag in there. But let's take a look at Xcross. This is a smaller group of vehicles, but no less competitive and no less exciting to watch. So overall, it looks like we've got Melissa and Jessica in the Ford Bronco Sport, but hot. Oh, not so quite hot on their heels.
Not so hot on their heels. Now, but Melissa and Jessica have been having a really rough day.
Yeah.
Yep. They were one of the ones that did not want to cross that canal, and they didn't call in for 2 hours.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
That is just so surprising.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're Melissa's a very seasoned competitor, but for some reason she didn't call in.
Wow.
And about crossing the canal. I mean, it would have been a pretty easy. Yep,
wow,
absolutely.
That's not so.
You're allowed to cross.
So, but now it looks like we actually do have a shakeup here for second and third. Those scores are all pretty close, especially Verena and Susie with Rebecca Donaghy and Sedona Blinson. We now kind of have a battle for that second place, I think.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
I think that it's pretty close there. Like you said, that's one blue and one black diamond.
Yeah. So, teams are out there. Like we said, it is so hot. I can't even begin to tell you how hot it is. And we just want to make sure that everyone's staying hydrated, everyone's out there working hard. But let's take a look at where they are in the day. So let's click on that day 7 right there. Now, this is how they're performing for the full day. We've got Melissa Clark. So it looks like we have 4 teams through checkpoint 14 and starting the Jimmy Lewis Enduro. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, let's see. So on these guys, on Xcross, the Enduro is between 10 and 14.
Oh, so they've already done their Enduro.
Yep.
Okay, so
no, but if you look down there at the BMW, the 205, they're only partially through that right now.
They're
so
on their Enduro
they
right
don't
now.
have that 22 points of that last checkpoint there. And
right.
So
okay,
that's
so
really going to bump them up.
That's awesome. So we need to make sure that they get that blue, and then they'll hopefully get that green. I don't want to say of course they'll get it, because God only knows I've missed a green before. We don't need to talk about that.
with Rebecca as your navigator.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a very long story that's just too complicated for right now, but it was here in Glamis. We went from a possible first place prize to 11th because we went to the wrong green. We couldn't figure out why there wasn't a flag there. We drove around and then we timed out. So we went to the Glamis Beach store and we got a $10 ice cream to make us feel better. So. Oh, my goodness. So we are going to have another show. It's going to be a little weird because we want to make sure that we are live so that you guys can see your teams coming in. But, again, we don't know when they're going to be coming in. I mean, we have them on the tracker, but, things can happen out there. So we're going to have a show up around 2:30. It might not be us up here talking, but we'll have something for you to look at 2:30. We expect top teams coming in right around 5 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier if they finish earlier. But, I mean, who knows? They're going to be out there looking for all of those points.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah. All right, I'm Emmy Hall. This is a fantastic Chrissy Beavis. This has been your competitor update from Day 7, which is sponsored by Total Chaos. And the truck I was just out in has Total Chaos, and it was smooth as butter. This has been Rebelle Rally Live, brought to you by Toyota. We'll see you later on this afternoon. Thanks so much.